Let's celebrate the recent reopening of the on-site museum at Ostia Antica, one of the most important archaeological sites in the Roman world, and explore this magnificent collection. The museum now boasts a far richer collection, with several added rooms, new lighting, and thoughtful didactic videos.
Ostia Antica is one of the greatest archaeological sites in the Roman world, and now its museum has been restored and the collection is pristine, so legible, with all kinds of new didactics, great video explanations, but also the lighting. And then, in addition, with the restoration work, you have a number of rooms that are added. So overall, this exploration of the collection of Ostia gets you familiar with some of the great personalities, not only of Ostia, but also Portus and Isola Sacra, the magnificent necropolis right between Portus and Ostia. So let's explore the Museum of Ostia Antica.
Before we dive into the Ostia Museum collection, let's review a few facts about Ostia Antica. Ostia is located at the mouth of the Tiber River, just 15 miles from Rome. It was always the port city of Rome and its connection to the Mediterranean. Its foundation was a military castrum dating to the 4th century BC, though ancient sources record a regal period foundation. The site eventually developed from a defensive site into a thriving maritime center. Particularly in the imperial period, the emperors created public monuments and buildings and invested in it as a central storage hub for foodstuffs and merchandise destined for Rome. Eventually, 2 miles to the north, a man-made harbor was constructed by Claudius and Nero, followed by an adjacent port by Trajan. The site became known as Portus of Ostia. In between the two sites was an island, formed by two distinct branches of the Tiber River. This Isola Sacra, sacred island, preserves an impressive necropolis. The museum, therefore, contains artifacts from these three key sites: Ostia, its adjacent necropolis, and Portus. Let's dive in. The museum building was a papal-era structure for salt extraction. It has served as the site museum since the fascist-era excavations and today includes 2 more rooms with didactic materials and videos. The Republican-era rooms highlight some of the most important finds from the Republican era. This is the terracotta statue of the seated Isis or Fortuna from the Sacellite Isis from the 2nd or 1st century BC. The Via della Foce sanctuary has a number of temples dedicated to Hercules, Asclepius, and others. This magnificent Greek marble statue of Asclepius is from his temple dating to about the 2nd century BC. Most famously from the sanctuary is this relief of the Haruspex Gaius Fulvius Salvus. Salvus is a Haruspex who used the Etruscan soothsayer method of interpreting the will of the god by inspecting the entrails of sacrificed animals. The relief recounts the discovery of the statue of Hercules by fishermen as they hauled in their nets, that led to the creation of the Temple of Hercules and the use of lots for its local oracle, dating to the 1st century BC. This hall presents an impressive who's who of imperial power. The central figure is the beautifully preserved statue of Trajan, who was worshipped as a god in the Scola of Traiano, which was a collegium, or association of shipbuilders, the Fabri Navales. The room also features many imperial family members: the colossal head of Trajan from the theater, a portrait of Hadrian found in a lime kiln, and Marciana, the sister of Trajan, from the baths of the Porta Marina. It's these documented contexts that matter so much as they enhance your visit of the archaeological site of Ostia Antica. The room also boasts detailed portraits of Septimius Severus and Julia Domna, and the rare figure here is Maxentius from Portus. This is a well-known example of a recarved marble portrait. The central hall focuses on a number of public monuments: the winged Victory that decorated the Domitianic-era Porta Romana, and the gate inscription itself. There is the nude statue of Gaius Cartilius Poplicola, a late Republican duumvir, local consul, of Ostia. His pose is possibly reminiscent of a hero like Theseus or Jason. There are also fragments of the Fasti Astiense from the Forum Basilica that list consuls, administrators, and key events in the Roman calendar. The Basilica by the Forum also contained 2nd century AD mythological panels, scenes tied to Rome's beginning, like the she-wolf and the twins. the rape of the Sabine women. There is also a unique scene of the geese in front of the Juno Moneta temple, recalling when the Gauls attacked the Capitoline in 390 BC. These are incredible marble reliefs finally on public display, and they are tied to similar scenes from the Basilica Aemilia in the Roman Forum. This room is dedicated to the citizens, men and women, of Ostia from the 1st through 5th centuries AD, with a wide array of well-carved portraits. There are also impressive shield portraits from the Baths of Mithras. The room also contains scenes depicting daily life. These frescoes record a rare scene in front of a tribunal from men before a seated judge, from the Caseggiato di Ercole, and 2 lively bar scenes, one with a female barkeeper and another from Ostia, in which the shopkeeper displays a wide variety of vegetables. There is also a series of terracotta plaques that once lined a number of tombs in Isola Sacra. Some manage the boats, destined for merchandise to be carried up the river to Rome. Others include the scenes of an obstetrician delivering a baby, and a physician who is in the act of bloodletting. This hall is dedicated to religion. There are offerings by Gaius Cartilius Uplis to Attis in his temple from the Magna Mater complex. There are the impressive plaques of the Archigalloi priests from the necropolis of Isola Sacra. A section is dedicated to the Synagogue of Ostia, one of the best preserved from the ancient world. We can see the menorah depicted on the marble bracket from the Torah niche shrine. And there are also these oil lamps and a funerary inscription from Pianabella Necropolis. A standout figure in the room is the Mithras from the Baths of Mithras, an underground site beneath the baths. It is signed by the Athenian artist Crichton in Greek. Again, what makes this collection so fantastic is you can visit the original locations of the artwork where it was discovered when you explore Ostia Antica. And you can see a copy of the statue where it was found underneath the Baths of Mithras still today. 3 rooms depict many tombs and tomb decorations from the various necropolis of Ostia and Isola Sacra. There are many carved sarcophagi and urns in marble. Some of reduced dimensions were for children of wealthy families. Here is an unusual artifact, the marble doors of a tomb from the necropolis along the Via Ostiense, dating to the 1st or 2nd centuries AD. We can admire the color richly preserved on the carving covering slab of marble for a loculus, or burial niche from a tomb in Isola Sacra. The scene, carved in the first half of the 3rd century AD, depicts the deceased couple surrounded by personifications of the 4 seasons. There are frescoes from the Domus of the Brucrania under the Scola of Traiano, dating to 40 to 30 BC. This is the beautiful blue ceiling fragment with geometric patterns and cupids from the Domus Fulminata, dating to the late 1st century AD. Here is the marble statuary from the house of Fortuna Annonaria of late antiquity. The statue of Cupid and Psyche from the house of Cupid and Psyche of late antiquity. Here we compare the original to the cast of the group on display in the Domus still today. Here is a man with oxen from a building dating to the late 1st century that predates the Hadrianic baths of the Sette Sapienti. And finally, there is a dedicated space of the philosophers, among which we have the Herm of Themistocles from the house of Themistocles that stands out as it has an inscription designating him as such. There are also portraits of Pythagoras and Demosthenes and others. There's also this rare scene of a philosopher's school from the Hall of the Altars. This is just a brief introduction to the newly opened museum at Ostia Antica. A visit to the collection will greatly enhance your exploration of the complex archaeological site. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing to Ancient Rome Live. And this video was made possible from a grant from the Marcantonio Award.